What it be, what it do, what it is. I have a lot to say lately, so we're doing lives. It is what it is. My girl Janina hooked me up with this shirt for Christmas. It's my hyperfixation shirt. It's got a biblically accurate angel on the back. Makes me feel divinely protected at all times. Today, the topic is intertwined with divine feminine embodiment. But it's about toxic positivity. This is the act of acting resilient and tender when you aren't truly. This is putting on a facade. This is masking energy. I watched a beautiful video today by Teal Swan about this subject, and it really hit home how I have been living this energy in my daily. I recently quit one of my jobs, and I haven't really spoken about why. It was a job that I loved, in a place that I loved. And I quit right around Christmas. And right as I quit and my employment ended there, I noticed something wild on my Fitbit. It does readiness. Like, it tells you how ready you are for your next workout when you wake up in the morning versus, how you slept that night. And last month, all of November, I was living on 12%. I never saw past 60 or 75%. I thought that was my normal. I've had my Fitbit since May, and I've never gotten past 75% ready. So I've been operating on fumes. And the very second that my position at this job ended, I woke up the very next day with 100% energy. And I've been at 90 and 80 since then, but I haven't dipped lower than that. This goes to show how much effort I was burning to try to make myself fit in a place that I did not truly fit in. And this is my responsibility, my energy, my life, me, not projection, me, my physical, my psychic, my mental, my physical, all of it. Christmas time, quite often we are expected to perform acts of service by putting ourselves on the back burner and hanging around with people in our family that drain our energy. Or put ourselves, the family tradition is to go to church, and every time you go to church, you feel exhausted. It's usually around friends or family that don't really resonate, right? You're trying to fit yourself in, and the feminine is expected to do this labor, emotional labor, more than the masculine. Men are allowed to get up from the table and do the Irish goodbye, whereas the feminine's expected to include fitting in places she doesn't want to be in her energetic state. She's supposed to be fluid and morph to fit, right? This is where a lot of people get confused with divine feminine embodiment and being a doormat. They think that they're supposed to conform to every situation that's encircling them, and that is not the case. You can be divine feminine, you can be tender without forcing yourself or bypassing your own warning signs in any environments that might not be healthy for you. I'm doing a live. So it's important to remember that you can bypass your own self your own internal notifications, you can ignore those to the point that it's unhealthy. It's putting you in an unhealthy situation. How and why do we do this? Well, the how for me was I would consume a lot of caffeine to do this job. And I would smoke weed to do this job. It would grease my consciousness into a place that felt conforming. Like I was putting myself in this, and I was getting it done, right? I was pushing my energy to the max to get it done for somebody else. The second I stopped smoking as much, I tapered down, and I'm not completely done smoking weed, but I've significantly reduced my intake. And I've significantly reduced my intake of caffeine as well. I started to realize that I was using these substances as ways to acclimate myself into environments where I was not feeling acknowledged. I was not feeling heard out. I was not feeling like I was being validated in my workspace. All of these things I was control of it. The only way I could control it was to remove myself from the situation. I'm not about to go up to other people and ask them to listen to me talk more than necessary. I think I tried like 5 times in the last 2 months to have some sort of intercourse, conversation about the issues that I needed to have handled at work, and it was not happening. And I'm not going to blame anybody about this. We're just not meeting energetically in a mutual place. My responsibility is to my energy. My responsibility is to my satisfaction in my work. My responsibility is to my integrity. So I had to listen. Once I stopped doing as much pushing with these chemicals, I started to have to really examine, after this full moon in Gemini that happened, this last full moon, where my authenticity is, where my expression really is, and where my energy is at the end of the day. Like, am I giving my best? No, I'm giving frustration. I'm giving controlling attitude. I'm giving being negative underneath a positive face. I'm not giving authenticity. I'm not giving integrity. And that really got to me when I started to really realize I was giving frog in the frying pan. I was sitting here talking to you in reels every single day, not realizing I was talking to myself about needing to make a change. That's what I'm here doing. I'm profoundly realizing how toxic my positivity has been. And I'm taking responsibility for that. You can spiritually bypass yourself. You can Pollyanna yourself into toxicity. You have to acknowledge the shadow work. You have to acknowledge what isn't working. And you have to give yourself grace to sit with it and be okay with being the bad guy. I'm sure there's people's feelings that got hurt when I left. But my feelings were hurt too. And that's my responsibility. It's not on me to fix their feelings. It's on me to fix my feelings. So I'm taking radical responsibility for that. That is my divine feminine embodiment expression of my situation. If I'm not working with love, if I'm not working in unconditional love, and I'm working under bitterness or frustration, out of lack, I'm not truly giving my best. I'm not living in the integrity as a healer, as a minister, as a coach, as a tarot reader, a minister, any of my hats that I wear. I'm not in my authenticity if I'm not minding my own energy and respecting it first and foremost. How can I tell you how to live if I'm not living it first? So, around the holiday, around the new year, I want you to think about how many positions you got put in, where you drank to fit in, you adjusted your internal pressure inside to fit the environment around you. And how did it make you feel afterwards? Did it make you feel icky? Do you feel like you're not in integrity with your highest self? Because if you don't, that's important to listen to. If you had to do an ungodly amount of substances to be able to have this holly jolly festivity with people that you wouldn't resonate with otherwise, pay attention to that. Don't bypass it. Because are you truly giving from yourself, or are you giving from an empty cup? Because I was. And that's not fair. It creates resentment, and it creates, the word starts with a C. Contentment. I don't like contempt, and I don't like contentment in a relationship. Any type of relationship. Because the second contemptuousness comes into play, we have a cancer. We have something terminal. I realized my pattern, and I pulled out, and now I'm seeing this video by Teal Swan today that's fully resonating with why I was having such a severe reaction. I was partaking in toxic positivity. I was bypassing myself spiritually. So in the last few days since I quit, I've been sleeping 8 to 9 hours of sleep when I was living on 6 hours of sleep since I got my watch. I'm learning to reset my creativity. I'm learning to get back into my abundance of energy because I'm tapped out. And yeah, you can negatively bypass yourself because of love, and you need to pay attention to the type of love, the type of unconditional love. You should not have unconditional boundaries just to have unconditional love. So my energy expenditure was not in honesty the last, I want to say probably year and a half. I was lying to myself about my endurance. I was lying to myself about my quality of mental energy, mental health. And I'm sorry. If anybody from work is watching, I'm sorry for being not in integrity, for putting on a happy face when I really wasn't. That's on me. I have no idea if there was a way to communicate what the issues were, what I needed, or not. I have no idea. Because I felt like I was trying and I felt like it was going nowhere. But because I wasn't in my full integrity, perhaps I was not using my words correctly. So I'm willing to use that and say, there's probably a lot of layers to my energy and why I made the decisions that I made. I'll always look at that time in my life with a lot of gratitude and a smile on my face, because I've pushed myself physically more than I've ever pushed myself before, and I found out I could do things that I didn't think was possible. So I have true gratitude for it. Meanwhile, I'm still figuring out how to recharge my batteries and be in integrity with it. So yeah, toxic positivity is real, and I'm sitting here being completely transparent about the stages of it and how the awareness really sank in for me today while I was listening to that, and how I've been playing out the last, year and a half or so of my life. But hopefully this hits somebody. I was going to write some things today, but some very important apps are down. I use ChatGPT as an editor. I know it's controversial, but I was going to edit together something. I'll do my best to get that done sooner enough. But I'm creating a story now that doesn't include toxic positivity. This is true positivity, true healthy mindset. So if you've been feeling some integrity issues on me, this is why. and I'm fixing it. I appreciate you guys for writing it along this thing. And if you're finding yourself standing in my position where you're having to put down boundaries because people are expecting you to behave against your own energy signature, to be fake, to be toxic positive, just for material gains or presence or family time that you truly don't feel resonant with, know that it's okay to stay in your integrity and not partake in the eggnog just to be able to get along with these people. You don't have to do that. So enjoy your sober integrity and your true positivity instead, and stand in that instead of pushing yourself into situations where you don't fit. All my heart. I started doing this for a particular person. Now I'm doing it every day because that feeling carries with me all the time. I think you know who you are. That's okay. This is about being of service. So this is the true cleaning up of my energy here. I'm taking radical responsibility before the new year. Getting real with myself is painful, but you know what? This is the work we need to do. So I'm going to be working on more offerings and things, tangible things to offer to you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I want to show you my gratitude because you're always so dope to me. But thank you for listening. Please be blessed.